Welcome back to Bull Sessions here on 680 KFEQ. Here's your hosts, Randy Baker and agronomist Brad Law.
Okay, Brad, we're back again. I think we was talking about your polywire that is actually, you told me during the break, was actually 2 feet from the house. How are you still married?
Well, it's called lawn management. We were managing that lawn because we built the house and the lawn wasn't seeded down, and construction people just run right through there all the time, and it's just and we raised it 5 foot. So I did the farmer thing, and I planted beans on it the first year.
Yeah.
And then after the beans were out, we planted wheat. So I took the drill and I took it through the yard and drilled it to wheat, and then I cut the wheat.
Yeah,
well,
I remember.
After the wheat, we planted, I think it was turnips, radishes, and cereal rye as a cover crop and forage crop. So I went through the yard with the drill. 750 drill is only 15 foot wide, and you can go right around there and get, at least to get the soil. I was trying to build the soil around the house.
No, you wasn't.
Well,
you was too lazy to plant grass.
Well,
you didn't want to mow.
It was too dry. It just wasn't good timing. I wanted it to settle, Randy, because I was going to dig some stuff up. I had to do it.
You had to do it.
I had to do it. Well, what we did was it was getting dry that summer, and the cattle were short on feed. So I went to the feed store and got some polywire and those little push-in posts.
Yes.
And I pushed those in, and I run
that.
They
work
good, and I sectioned that off, and then I moved them over after they ate one section down. I moved it on up, so I'd already took the big wheat crop off. Then I'm getting grazing, and hay wasn't cheap, so it was a win-win situation.
Worked good that year, didn't it?
Well, if every year would just work that good.
Even though it was in the front yard.
Well, but we ended up, I was trying to put up, the way my house sets, I needed another fencer because I didn't want them to go here, but I wanted them there, and I didn't have another battery fencer, so I used the 110 off the Christmas light plug in the front porch. But I couldn't find an extension cord. Can you find extension cords?
Never.
Well, neither could I, but
the ends off of it whenever you do.
Well, I plugged it in, and I got it where it was up to the front of the house. And then we it was just me, the wife, and the first child, and we liked the cows up there because we could set it, and in the backyard, I got a propane tank. We cut that fence in where I didn't want to have to weed eating's bad. I don't like that job. So I put the post back there where the cows could go around the propane tank. And they ate all that stuff around there. But what was neat, you could be sitting outside and the cattle would come up close. And it was so neat to watch them. The wife loved that. And the little boy loved that. Well, you could watch, and you'd have something out there like a turnip and a radish, and you'd have a weed, and you'd have wheat straw, and you'd have the cereal rye. They would sniff, and they would pick out stuff, and they would see what they wanted in their diet next. And even little calves were pulling up those radishes and turnips to eat them. I mean, it was cool to watch.
I bet.
So that's something else.
Did you do your pastures out there? Did you plant some turnips and...
No, I haven't tried that. It's hard when you got grass already established, and then you got to fence the cows off that spot.
Right.
But that was kind of neat, and those turnips ain't very expensive to do. So we're talking about what can we do after wheat,
Yeah, forage crops.
We can do forage crops like, we've talked about the red clover. It's easy where you don't have that expense of taking the drill and drilling another cover crop. You can just you put it in with the fertilizer, and with a little luck, you have a stand, after wheat harvest. Yeah. So that saves expense because we're watching our money, we're watching our budgets, and then we've got options. One other thing, if we like to roll the dice. You ever been to Vegas, Randy?
No, I did one time years ago.
One time?
Yes.
Okay. Well, did you do good at the table?
I never gambled a penny. As a matter of fact, I thought I was in Sodom and Gomorrah.
Well, if I was going down and, to roll the dice, we could talk about double crop soybeans. Because you get the weed out.
I've done that before.
Okay, so we're rolling the dice on that because it's high risk, high reward. Okay, and it has worked well, and it's also crashed and burned for me. So when we're looking at those double crop soybeans, we got to get the weed out early. If we can get it out there at the end of June and it looks like they're calling for rain sometime,
yes.
Do we try it? I planted a plot this past year of them just to see what it was. And we had the time, and the wheat was out early, so we did a plot of it just for curiosity. But I still have a bad taste in my mouth from 2012 where one field went 10 and one went 3.
But
and then
we didn't have the rain.
it was a bad year. But prior to that, I was getting a 30 bushel or better.
This year might be a good double crop soybean year if we don't get an early frost. I think.
Over there by Hannibal, they were talking that some of them beans over there, their double crop, look better than. I mean, they're looking awesome. So with those double crop beans, we're praying for rain to get them up. And we're praying for a late frost. And then we look at this. We've got some glyphosate tolerant soybeans. Okay, and we've talked
glyphosate.
Glyphosate. How about gly? We'll just say gly tolerant. I talk redneck.
Yeah, really.
Remember, this is the guy wearing the penny loafers. If you want to come and see him in his penny loafers, he's usually by the coffee pot in the office, and you'll find him right there. If you like your coffee with, I think he puts a half a can in the machine. But
I made him coffee last week, and he I don't think he approved. I don't think it was strong enough.
Oh, no. It was the best coffee I ever drank, Miles. It was awesome.
Well, he comes in here today and apparently makes a pretty strong pot here.
He makes his own. I think he put. What was it?
Three of those big spoons in.
Well, I think you had like a 1 cup measuring cup,
it's
and you just dumped those in there.
Just dump the whole can in.
I'm sticking to stuff in a bottle. Like
I don't
Pepsi.
drink, so I have to have some kind of release from Brad. You get what I mean now, Miles. You know him now.
Well,
no comment.
No comment. We're talking about double crop soybeans.
Let's continue to do that.
Double crop soybeans. Okay, we got those beans.
Yep.
In a white bag with maybe some blue and red writing on them that the word starts with a W, and then the other part says soybeans.
Yeah.
Okay, on those beans, the beans like one that I would like is like the 73, 79.
Yes.
Okay, it's a 3.7 maturity, and it's got small seed size.
Yeah, last year was awesome.
Awesome seed size.
165,000 to a 50-pound bag.
Okay, well, we played around with those, and you're talking, that's 20-some bucks an acre, in the 20s for seed costs. Well, that kind of changes, well, what if I do that? That takes how many bushels is that going to take to make that break even? If the wheat covers the rent or some of the expense and we just do that as a bonus, it makes it a little different. How can we manage it? And, one other thing that I did that was neat with those 79s, I took and I had a plot of wheat at my house. And I was planting the population plot, and I planted the row spacings plot, and I still had some beans in that planter. And they were untreated. They were just, trying to see how cheap I could do a population and get that down and still get yield. Well, I took and I had that wheat there, and I'd always wanted to try this. I went into that standing wheat with my split row planter, and I just planted beans into it.
Yep.
Okay. And then I left it. Didn't touch it. Didn't do nothing. There at the end of June, come in there with my combine with the 20-foot head and the big tires on it, and I cut that wheat. And then I had little beans already started underneath there that were just there below the heads. And we've been watching that, and those beans just never got the height of the rest of them, but they noted closer together.
Okay. How high would you say they are now? Because that 79 can get pretty tall. That's a 3.7 for those of you, we didn't mention that, but...
Oh, it's probably about knee high or
on
so.
You,
on me, which is a little tall.
You're 6'3", so waist high on me.
But it's something different, and I'm not saying that's the thing to do, but it's something that Randy's been very. He gave me creative freedom, which is very dangerous.
It is extremely dangerous.
And so my mind wanders, and that is what we try. That's one of the things I tried. It's just a small plot to see what happens. And we'll get some yield data off those.
It's fun to watch that.
Well, if I can't try something and have a failure, I'm not trying hard enough.
There you go.
So
that's how you learn.
We'll see.
That's how we learn.
But on double crop beans, we have to pray for rain.
Yes.
We have to pray for a late frost.
Yes.
We need a little bit of late rains in the season to fill them pods and get things rolling. So, and then I'm trying this interplant deal. So we'll see what happens. But wheat gives you those options.
There is a lot of options.
People like college football, they run the option.
Sure they do.
Well, with wheat, we've got options. Okay.
We need to exercise options.
Okay. Well, if we say, well, I don't like that, those soybeans, don't want to do that. Okay. Well, what about how can we make that ground better? You know, we talked about putting some cows out there. Well, how many do you like spring built? Have you ever been on spring built terraces?
I don't like them.
Well, spring built.
They're in the way, actually, when you're trying to plant.
Well, and that dirt, you know, maybe it was a little bit wet when they were trying to build that terrace, and it's about like concrete or something, trying to plant over it, and you don't grow much. Well, then fall built terraces, whenever you start combining, the neighbor started the day before. And then the first person done or gets the field out, they call the dozer guy, and he's been setting since like June.
Yeah.
So he goes to the first person that has an open field, and he starts doing dirt work. And then you are somewhere on that list, and it just grows, and he may not make it there till spring.
May 1.
Well, if we do wheat, Randy, we've got, let's say you took your wheat out then June 1st, July. You've got the rest of July, August, September, when nobody else has open ground, where you can go out there and you could build terraces. You could even clean terraces out, you know, and fix things. And like I've even...
Do some tiling,
or even take and fix the Hickenbottoms in those terraces. So they work properly and do what they're supposed to do.
We got to hold up on terraces. We'll talk more about that here in just a minute when we come back to Bull Sessions on 680 KFEQ.